Set 5 Pinnacle 21 Technical question and answers. Answers are highlighted in green. Question 1. You are validating a CDISC STTM dataset using Pinnacle 21 and you notice a warning related to the variable age. The warning states age is populated for subjects under 1 year old. What should you do to resolve this? So here option A says remove all values for age for subjects under 1 year old. No, you cannot remove all these values. Replace age with a null value for these subjects. No, you cannot replace with a null value. Use age but include a note explaining its derivation in the reviewer guide. No, you cannot do this. So what you can do is use the derived age as months AGEM instead of years for these subjects. So the answer is C. Question 2. When running Pinnacle 21 Enterprise, you encounter a validation issue where the software reports value in visit num does not align with visit. What is the most likely cause of this issue? Now the answer itself is in the question. Here it says does not align, right? And here it says do not match. The meaning is same. So the answer is B here. Option A says visit num values are not in ascending order. So this is not the right answer. Visit num values are missing for unscheduled visit. So this is also not the right answer. Right? D is visit num values are incorrectly derived from date value. So this is also not the right answer. Question 3. During a Pinnacle 21 SDTM validation, an error is flagged invalid control terminology value for AE-SEV. What would be the best approach to resolve this? Now option B says replace the AE-SEV column with free text descriptions. No, you cannot replace with free text descriptions. Option C says modify the control terminology to fit the dataset. Now the control terminology you cannot modify it because it's a CDISC guidelines, right? So whatever that has been coded, you have to present that in your datasets. Option D, ignore the value if the values are descriptive enough. No, you cannot ignore any kind of data, even if it's a weird, missing, blank, outlier, whatever kind of data value it is, you cannot ignore in the clinical trials data. So the option A says ensure AE-SEV values match the CDISC control terminology for severity. So you have to ensure that the values for this particular variable AE-SEV matches, right? Question 4. While validating an ADAM dataset in Pinnacle 21, you see the following warning. Variable ADY is not populated for all records. What might this indicate? Now option A says missing treatment start dates for some subjects. This is not the right answer. Missing exposure data in the EX domain. Even this is also not the right answer. ADY is not a required variable and can be ignored. No, ADY is a required variable and it cannot be ignored. So the answer is B, incorrect derivation of analysis datasets. So you need to ensure that the derivation of analysis dates are correct and hence it's showing you the value that variable ADY is not populated for all records. Question 5. In Pinnacle 21, what does the define.xml is not compliant error indicate? Option A, the define.xml does not use the correct schema version. Then the dataset names in the define.xml do not match the data labels, right? And the option C says the define.xml file is missing entirely. If the define.xml file is missing entirely, then it will not give this error message saying that it's not compliant. So this answer is incorrect. So the correct answer is D, which is both A and B. Question 6. You are running Pinnacle 21 on your SDTM dataset and get the following warning. Inconsistent subject identifiers between DM and other domains. What might be the root cause? So option A says the subject identifiers in other domains have different formats than in DM. That is the right answer. extra subjects exist in DM that are not in other domains. Then data was collected for non-consented subjects and included in other domains. So the answer is all of the above. Question 7. You notice a Pinnacle 21 finding mismatched variable labels between datasets and define.xml. How should you resolve this? So the answer here is update the dataset variable labels to match CD standards and also update the define.xml. Now it is very important that whenever you see any mismatched labels, you will have to check the labels in your datasets, as well as you have to check your labels in your define.xml. In both these datasets and define.xml, the variable labels should match and there should be consistency. So option A is modify the define.xml to match the dataset variable labels. You have to check both. So the answer is wrong. Option B says change the dataset variable labels to align with define.xml. No, you have to ensure that the labels are same in both according to the CD standards. Option D, ignore the mismatch if the meaning is still clear. No, you cannot ignore any kind of labels, and labels should match as per the CD standards. Question 8. While validating an ADAM dataset, Pinnacle 21 flags missing values for param in ADSL dataset. What is the most likely cause of this warning? Option A. Param is not applicable for ADSL and should be removed. No, you cannot remove any such kind of uh, variable. Option B. Param values are not carried over from SDTM domains. You even cannot do this. The dataset does not include a sufficient description of analysis parameters. So this is also not the right answer. Param is missing for derived records which are expected in Adam. So this is the right answer. Question 9. During validation, Pinnacle 21 identifies that expected dataset VS is missing. How should you proceed? Option A says add an empty VS dataset to avoid the warning. No, you cannot add any kind of empty dataset, and even if you enter the empty dataset, it will still throw the error in Pinnacle 21. If you want, you can try that. Option C says copy records from other domains into new VS domain. No, you cannot do this. Copy pasting records from other domains to the VS domain. This is absolutely unethical to do this. Option D says disable the rule in Pinnacle 21 validation. You also cannot disable any kind of rule that exists in Pinnacle 21 software, because this software itself is allowed for doing the validation purpose. Hence, you cannot disable this. Now, the option B says confirm if vital signs data were collected in the trial. If not, justify its absence in the reviewer guide. So, B is the right answer. Say, for example, any data set that is missing in any clinical trials information. So, you need to check whether that data was collected or not. If that data was not collected, then you can justify its absence in the reviewer guide. Question 10. When validating an SDTM dataset, Pinnacle 21 reports value of test CD exceeds 8 characters. What is the correct way to handle this? Option A says truncate test CD to 8 characters and update define.xml. You cannot truncate any kind of data in any column or in any row, especially in the clinical trials where you are dealing with the human patients' data. Option B says replace test CD with a longer descriptive value. Even this also you cannot do. Option C says map the test codes to their corresponding control terminology values. Even this is not possible. The only possible way is you can shorten the test CD values and provide their full descriptions in the test CD. So D is the right answer. Please like, share and subscribe. Leave a feedback comment mentioning any topic that you want me to make a video. Looking forward for a positive response. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. Leave a feedback comment. Many thanks for your support and having great connection.